Joe.
Welcome everybody to my next episode in my mini-series From Fluff to Stuff. On this month's episode, I am going to be discussing why I chose the spinning wheel I have and that I'm using now. I hope you find it useful for all of those newbie spinners out there, or new to be spinners, or those who are long-standing spinners. I hope this video gives you some insight into my own personal thought process as to why I chose the one I chose. I have my notes here that I'm going to be looking at as I go through, so I remember everything that I would like to say. Also, apologies for my hair. I look a little bit like Monica from Friends, although not as crazy, but I do have crazy hair because I'm phoning from holiday. I am videoing from holiday, and so the humidity here is making my hair go a little bit crazy. So today, I would like to start with my first thoughts around the type of spinning wheel that I wanted. Mainly the difference between the traditional spinning wheel, the non-motorized and the motorized type of spinning wheel. I first tried using some form of spinning wheel when I was at the Southern Wool Show, I think last year or the year before. I've already discussed it in my first episode, where I went to the threshing barn and used one of their electric wheels. I believe they had a nano or a little eel, and I think maybe a Dreaming Robots. That was the first time I actually tried an electric wheel. I have also seen other podcasters talk about their electric wheels, or they've purchased them. I also had a look on Google and found actually, and I'll put an insert here, that there are so many different types of motorized spinning wheel. On Amazon, there is just a plethora of choice that you can make. That they all range in different prices. After I tried then Amanda's traditional type spinning wheel, which was non-motorized, I then started to weigh up the pros and the cons of each. And one of the issues that I had with the electric spinning wheel was there are a lot of parts that potentially could go wrong. I believe most of them, or a lot of them, are made from 3D printers, and I know that you can get spare parts for a lot of them, but I was slightly concerned about the viability of whether the product would be long lasting, especially because the price point is a lot lower than some of the traditional spinning wheels. Not all of them, but some of them, especially those that I've shown that are on the Amazon website. So that age-old saying of measure twice, cut once, I wanted to actually spend my money wisely and buy something that I know would last quite some time. Also, I tried Amanda's spinning wheel and fell in love with the whole nature of the traditional process around using my body to create the yarn and not just the spinning wheel itself. Moving on, sorry, I'm looking at my notes just to make sure that I've got everything covered. I then decided, so that was it. I decided that it was definitely going to be a manual, non-automated spinning wheel. And I then went down the rabbit hole of researching the different types of traditional spinning wheel. I first initially looked at eBay because it is a big investment for a spinning wheel, and I wanted to see what choices were out there in terms of type, style, model, etc. And there weren't actually that many on there, and those that were on there either needed renovation. I didn't know what those models were. They were the very old traditional spinning wheels like were used or in the Disney productions. And there were a couple of brands that I knew, but again, the actual resale price of those that I was looking at secondhand were actually very similar to the price that you could get new. So after looking at eBay, I decided to have a look at who stocks the make Ashford, because this was the make that was this was the make that Amanda's spinning wheel was from. Hers was an Ashford traditional spinning wheel. So I knew that it was a brand and that it was good. So I looked up all of the stockists on the spinning wheel and came across Wing and Wool. Out of all of the websites that I researched in the stockists, their platform, their internet platform and their shopping platform was really good. And it also was very knowledgeable. So there were lots of different types of spinning models of the Ashford. Just so you know, that's the brand that I decided to go with. I decided to go with an Ashford. I'd used it before. It was a easily recognizable brand. Ashford is from New Zealand. There are probably lots of other brands, but I didn't, and I'm still not aware of all those other types. Hopefully in future videos I will become more knowledgeable, but being a newbie, I wanted to go with something that I'd used before and seemed a relatively good brand. So back to Wing and Wool. Their website's really easy to use and there's a lot of information on there. And there are loads different types of models. So I'm just going to have a look at my iPad, which is in front of me, and just explain the different models that were on there. So the model that Amanda has was if I'm looking at right, not that one, not that one. Okay, it's good. Amanda had the Ashford traditional. They also have, looking at their website too, they also had their e-spinners, Ashford do e-spinners. Now, saying that the price point of an electric can be slightly less, actually, the Ashford e-spinner is similar in price, if not more, than their traditional spinning wheels. And they have two types. They have the e-spinner 3 and they have an e-spinner jumbo, which allows you to create more, have more yarn on the spindle. I was looking then at the Ashford traditional. Then I saw a couple of others. They had one called the Ashford Country Spinner, which is in a box-like frame, and it looks, to me, it didn't look like a spinning wheel, and it looked like quite a hefty piece of furniture. Similar to, I think the traditional was also a larger piece of furniture. Going back to the e-spinners, I digress. They have their really good points from the point of view of their size. They're very portable, and their size, it's easier if you've got small space to actually use a spinner, or if you don't like the feeling of using your legs as well at the same time as using your hands, then, you know, e-spinners are great, but I wanted the full-on experience. So on their website, they've got the Ashford Country Spinner. As I say, it's quite a hefty piece of equipment, same as the traditional. And Amanda's traditional isn't huge, but isn't huge as in the big spinning wheels that you potentially see in the Disney movies. The traditional is smaller, and her one's is slightly smaller, but it's still a big piece of furniture. So then I was having a look down, and they then have the Ashford Traveller, and this is an upright piece of equipment. Rather than having one end being the spinner and the other end being a big wheel and a piece to collect the yarn. This one is more in an upright position, and it's got those traditional legs, the cottage legs on there. And in all honesty, I didn't like the design. So I was like, okay. But what I then saw, and I thought, wow, this is funky. This is different looking, but I really do like the look of it. And that is the Ashford Kiwi. And I was like, And I was having a look, and it's got a wooden base, and I thought, that's nice. I like the look of that. I'm just going to go back to my notes here quickly. So yeah, this is where I'm going to be speaking about the model I choose. So the Kiwi, it caught my attention because it was smaller than the rest. It could then save some space. I read some reviews, however, when I was looking at the Kiwi, and some people were saying it was an entry level and potentially didn't have, it only had 3 ratios, and I'm going to be speaking about the parts of a spinning wheel next. But with the Kiwi, it only has 3 spinning wheels, 3 ratios, and I wanted a spinning wheel that grew with me. Now the Kiwi is a really good entry-level price point as well, actually probably the least expensive of the range for the Ashford. So I was toying with the idea as to whether this was the way to go, because I didn't know whether at that point I was going to fully enjoy the art of spinning. So I was reading the reviews, and somebody then mentioned the fact that they used this, but they also had a Joy. Now the Joy is exactly the same, and the design is, I love the design. It's an upright spinning wheel, and you can have a single treadle or a double treadle. I'll talk about that some more in a bit. But the reviews were saying that some people have had their Joy for years. They still spin on it now, even though they've moved on to other types of spinning wheel. And the key here is that it's got 4 drive ratios, which means that you can actually make different thicknesses of yarn more easily. So it really stood out. I thought that this would be my way forward. It's not a classic looking wheel, which is actually what I was looking for, because I felt that the classic wheel is a little bit too traditional looking for me and a little bit too formal. So this little spinning wheel looked funky, and I liked the look of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to insert some footage and discuss the different parts of the spinning wheel, my Ashford Joy, and we will have a little chat. I'll talk you through the ratios, and actually this is one of the reasons why I decided and ultimately ended up buying the Joy. All right, let's take a closer look at my Ashford Joy spinning wheel and break down all of the main parts and what they actually do. So whether you're brand new to spinning or just curious about how the wheel works, I'll guide you through it. First of all, we have the flyer. This is the most recognisable part of the wheel. The flyer is the U-shaped component that spins around the bobbin. As the wheel turns, the flyer twists the fibre into yarn and helps wind it onto the bobbin at the same time. On the Joy, the flyer has a built-in orifice, and that's the hole that your yarn passes through. You'll also see yarn guides on other spinning wheels. They're hooks, and they let you control where the yarn winds on the bobbin, so it's not all sat in one place. Now the bobbin sits inside the flyer. This holds the yarn that has been spun. The Ashford Joy typically comes with multiple bobbins, so you can spin different colours of fibre and swap between them easily. You can wind your finished yarn directly onto the bobbin as you spin. We also have a built-in, they're not lazy Susans, but it's a place for you to hold the bobbins so that when you're creating a plied yarn, you can directly do it from the wheel itself. You don't need another piece of equipment, which you would do for other different types of spinning wheel. You then have the drive wheel. This is the big round wheel that you treadle with your feet. It's what powers the whole system. On the Joy, it's smaller, more compact than on a traditional wheel, but it's just as effective. It connects to the flyer with a drive band, which creates the motion when you treadle. The treadling itself, you have on this particular spinning wheel, I've chosen a double treadle. You can have a single treadle. A double treadle means that you're using both feet to power it. I wanted a double treadle because when I was using Amanda's spinning wheel, she only had a single treadle, and I felt that I couldn't control the direction of the spin very well. So when I was looking at the Ashford Joy and saw that it came with a double treadle, I decided that that would help give me control and balance whilst I'm spinning. It also feels a little bit smoother than the single treadle. The drive band, so this is the cord or the stretchy band that loops from the drive wheel onto the flyer whirl. So the drive wheel is the larger circle that you can see present, and it loops onto the smaller whirl. It's really stretchy. It's a polyurethane band. It's very lightweight and easy to adjust. You just put it into the grooves that are already there, and this controls how fast this fly spins in relation to the wheel. On other spinning wheels, there's a more manual approach to creating how fast the yarn spins. This is why I like the Joy, because you don't actually have much of a choice. It does it for you. You can also get replacement parts for this particular machine. So then we move on to the flyer and the ratios and the flyer whirl. The ratios are how many times the flyer spins per treadle. So you can change this by changing, as I said, the position of the drive band on the flyer whirl. So that's the grooved pulley attached to the flyer. Think of it like the gears of a bike, and this is how I thought of it, and makes it a little bit easier. So the higher the ratio, the faster the spinning, which means a finer yarn. The higher the ratio, you would need to put the drive band in the smaller groove, so in the smaller part section of the drive wheel, whereas the thicker the yarn, which is the lower ratio, you would then put it on the larger end. So the Joy comes with 4 standard ratios, the Kiwi only has 3. So the Kiwi's ratios are 5 to 5, 7 to 5, and 9 to 5, whereas the Joy is 6 to 1, 8 to 1, and 11 to 1, and 14 to 1. There are high-speed kits, you can take it higher if you want to, but you're looking at using the 14 to 1 to produce that finer lace weight yarn. From the work that I've already done, a lot of it also comes down to experience, how fast you treadle, but I thought that having a good set of different ratios would help, especially in a newbie spinner as I am. You then have the tension system. So this is the knob that I'm just going to bring up a picture of. It's a single drive system where one band turns the flyer and a separate tension band controls the bobbin's resistance. So there's a little knob with a couple of springs on the side. This tightens the control of how hard it is for the yarn to wind on. So if there's a lot of tension, it pulls the yarn and there's a faster uptake onto the bobbin, whereas a lesser tension, there's a slower uptake, which is quite good for beginners or delicate fibres, because if you're making a very lace weight yarn and it pulls too hard, the yarn can snap. The Joy comes in both lacquered and unlacquered. I decided to get the lacquered because with the unlacquered you would need to get beeswax. It'd be like almost waxing a cricket bat for those cricketers out there, to make it sturdy enough for you to use. So I decided I'll pay a little bit extra and for it to already be lacquered so I don't need to worry about it. It's made from solid silver beech hardwood. It's super sturdy, but it's really lightweight. It feels like a really premium product. It lasts a long time, and not much maintenance is required. Now, the big surprise, actually, and I'm sure it probably told me when I first was researching the product, but I didn't realise that it came with a bag, and it comes with a really decent travel bag. And I must have known about this, but because it came with a travel bag, I didn't really understand at the time that I was buying it that the Joy actually has metal parts on the side where you can fold up and flip up the feet. And it's a quick release mechanism, so you can fold the wheel down and up in seconds. And the travel bag is padded. I think this is an absolutely brilliant piece of kit. Where the traditional you can't pack down, this particular model, the Ashford Joy, you can quite easily travel with, which is, you will see later, I have done. So I decided, in typical style, I ordered it. After I'd ordered it, I watched a few unboxing videos. It was classic, right? But it actually helped me understand how to set up the Ashford Joy so that when I got it and I was reading through the instructions, I knew how to piece some of the bits together. It was really, really quite straightforward. The majority of it is already made. You just have to make the fit the feet on and deal with the tension system. But it was fine, it was easy, I managed to do it, and therefore it will probably be okay for all of you out there if you decide to choose the spinning wheel. Thank you. Lastly, every spinning wheel needs to have a name. Amanda, can you put your name in the comments of what your spinning wheel is called? I know that you've given your spinning wheel a name. It's a bit like cars, isn't it? You get a car, you have to give the car a name. How I gave my spinning wheel its name, a year or so ago, I decided to use the ancestry DNA. I wanted to research my history, and I have found hundreds of years ago that a lot of my family, or some of my family, were shepherds. And it was really interesting, and I thought, well, that's where my love of this whole craft is stemming from, because I have shepherds in my family. Seeing that there was a very common name as well going through my family history and my family tree, and I decided it was quite a poignant name actually, so I decided to call my spinning wheel Sarah. This is very significant because my sister is also called Sarah, so there are a number of Sarahs, and there is in my ancestral tree we do have shepherds, so I felt very connected with the craft of spinning. So that's how I ended up with my Ashford Joy. It's a learning curve. I am still learning how to use it, and over the forthcoming episodes I'm going to be showing you my first attempts at spinning, on all the mistakes that I made along the way. Now over to you. Tell me, what would you prefer, an electric or a traditional? What made you buy your first spinning wheel? What one did you buy? Or did you borrow? And what brands and things were you looking at? Please tell me if there are different brands out there, you know, that I might want to look at or see or even try. Then it would be great to hear from you. So please comment, like the video if you do, subscribe. There's no wrong or right answer when it comes to using a traditional versus an electric. But please, over to you. I'd love to hear your comments on this. Now end the video with some footage that we took whilst we were traveling to our holiday destination, which proves the joy of the joy. See you next time. Bye. Thank you for watching.